Welcome back on this beautiful day. This is the WeAreDevelopers Live Week number 3, and you are also live watching. So today we want to thank our main partners, the Vienna Business Agency and the City of Vienna, and also the partner of the day, Wienerberger. And of course, there are so many people and companies and associations which make an event such like this possible. So let's just have a look at some of them or all of them. We have to thank our partners who who support us with a little bit of their money, and some partners who support us big time by giving us super duper content. And of course, there are always these partners out there who are from the media, who make sure that we reach a lot of people and that we have people for the first time. So there are also our community partners, and our community partners make sure that we always have something to discuss about and to make us aware of stuff which is going on. If you are here for the first time and stumbled upon us on YouTube or Facebook, make sure to go to wearedevelopers.com/live-week. And this is because if you are there, on this side of the screen, you will find Slido. And you can use Slido to participate in our polls. At the moment, we are asking, have you ever used an SDK before? And there is the majority of you at the moment, 74%, who say yes. And there are also people who are not sure and who say no. I am sure after this workshop, you will be able to answer this question with yes. So, just one update from our side. We had a call this morning with the guys from Wienerberger who would have had the talk at 1 p.m. Unfortunately, there was an accident and the talk will not take place. We will have it at another time, and we wish you all the best and stay healthy, guys. Aufgehoben ist aufgeschoben. Gary approves this new proverb in German. So before we go into the workshop, I want you to acknowledge our code of conduct. The short version is please behave and treat each other with respect, participate, and the long version is this one. And today we are here with Andreas and Olaf from a company we all know, Mercedes, and they gonna show us today something wonderful. Hi Olaf, hi Andreas, how are you?
Hi Stefan, we are well, and thank you very much for having us here in the WeAreDevelopers Live Week.
Yeah, good morning everyone. Thanks for having us.
Good. So I will now bring out my special keyboard and turn off my camera and microphone, and I will be back for the Q&A. And have fun. The stage is all yours.
Okay, thank you. So
thanks a lot.
And I will start. I hope you see me. Welcome again from our side, Mercedes-Benz developers. It's the first time that we support or engage in the WeAreDevelopers, one of the WeAreDevelopers event. We plan to be part of the World Congress end of May, but it was cancelled due to the Corona pandemic, so it's even better to be here right now. Andreas, would you like to start with the introduction from your side?
Yeah, of course. I'm a developer at Pentacorn who's partnering with Mercedes-Benz and providing the APIs we're going to show today. And so I'm actually not on the API consumer side usually. For this presentation, I basically switched sides to see how everything works and looks from the other side, from the side of you guys, from the people we focus on when we build our APIs. And I also have to admit, I'm not an Android developer, nor an iOS developer. I'm really based in the backend. So using the SDK was also new to me, but I got it to work. So yeah, no worries. It will also work for you, and it's cool stuff. So I'm really much looking forward to Olaf and my presentation today, and giving you an insight of what's available for you at MB Developers.
Thank you. And I'm Olaf. My main role is community manager in the Mercedes-Benz developers team. So I really care for developers. I really care for you. And we have 2 hours. That is a very long time. So we've prepared a bunch of topics and some coding sessions. So keep the fingers crossed that everything will work well, because online is very strange. It's the first time that we operate or conduct this workshop session. We more prefer on-site, but hopefully it's possible next year again. So we start with the workshop session, and we start with a video. So Stefan, I would like to ask you to stream the video.
Hello, Michael.
Who's Michael?
So we are back here, and I really like the video. And the our goal from Andreas and me is to get you in the same mood like the developer, like the Michael in the video. So after the 2 hours, hopefully we reach this, and every one of us say yes, it was a cool session. So we can switch over to the presentation. We have a few slides. So mostly we are on the portal or in the coding mode, but nevertheless, we already know these are your hosts, Andreas and me. And we already passed the cool video. So welcome devs, welcome Michaels out there. We have prepared these few items here, an overview about our portal and how we document our products and what kind of support you will get, what tools we offer. We have prepared 3 coding sessions, and at the end, and that is the first time when we communicate this, we will give you an update or the first information about the upcoming new the era of developer collaboration. So there is something coming up next year, and you will be the first to get the really early information about that. So stay tuned. Stay until we have 2 hours, so stay until the end. It's really worth being with us. The dev portal link and QR codes are on the slides, but hopefully you already have got a look at our portal. We love interactive sessions, so it's not a 2 hours stream from us to you. So we like some interactions. You are also free to post any questions in the Slido chat as well. So we monitor that, and also Stefan interrupts us if there are some important questions. We prepared some breaks in our session, so we can really recap questions there. But now I'd like you to go to Menti and give us some information. And as I know there's a 30-second delay, you can either scan the QR code or go to Menti and enter the code 808469 and answer. You can start answering the first question. Where are you listening from? We're really interested where you're from, how international the audience is. And as you can see here in the right lower corner, there are already the first answering the question. It's a simple one. And by the way, I will unhide, and we can see where you're from. Oh, there is it's moving and moving. So Germany, that's big. So we're in Germany, but you can't change it anymore. So we have Chemnitz, office, so nice. Okay, the question was not clear enough. I'm in the office as well, so to let you know.
So we are all in the same location because I'm also in the office.
Yeah, that's right. So we have some from the Netherlands, some from Austria, some from Turkey, from Lisbon, Berlin, cool, Netherlands, Croatia, Ulm, and where is Stuttgart? We have some from Stuttgart. So hello to my colleagues, and hello also to our friends from Zuffenhausen. Hope there are some in this session, and want to see what we have here at Mercedes-Benz. Okay, thank you very much. We continue with the next question, also a very simple one. What kind of developer are you? We have heard that 67% of you are aware of an SDK, but now you can really concrete it in a much more, and you could also say, I'm not a developer, that's fine. So I have to open up the closing, sorry for that. Ah, now it works, okay. So if you're a full stack developer, decide which part of you most like. And I will also unhide here the results. And there is a bunch of backend developers, and a few there are a few I'm not a developer also watching us. And the other ones, I would really interested what other ones could be possible. So some SAP or host developers or something else. We never know. And by the way, yeah, Andreas?
It's cool to know that I'm in good company with API developers and backend developers.
Yeah.
So greetings to all of you.
Okay, so a lot of backend developers because they are using APIs, that is good, and some web ones as well. And to be honest, I'm not a developer also, but nevertheless, I learned developing 30 years ago when I started my career, and the programming languages I learned were Pascal, Fortran, and C. So languages that are completely outdated. In the digital age, you would say that's digital mid-century. So I could no longer compete with the cool frameworks and languages that are on the table right now. So thank you very much for this. 33 answers. We switch back and continue with our presentation. A little history about our developer portal. We started mid of 2017, launched the portal, and we had the official launch at the Web Summit in Lisbon, November 2017. And as you know, the Web Summit 2020 started, I think, yesterday or the day before. So in parallel, we have the Web Summit. So it's a kind of birthday for us, a 3 years birthday, where we officially launched our Mercedes-Benz developer portal. Beginning of 2018, we launched the connected vehicle APIs in line with our simulator, and it was not the real one giving access to physical cars, but linked to the simulator, and why we named it the experimental connected vehicle API. And last year in September, so more than 1 year ago, we launched the first Mercedes-Benz mobile SDK, so a more comprehensive package of functions and data points supporting mainly app developers for iOS and Android. We offer two kind of data, say it this way. So we have the one pillar is the marketing data, which refers to the vehicle itself with descriptions, images, equipment, car configurator data. So this is the one pillar, and the other one is refers to the connected car itself. So we have more than 130 different data points you can access to a car, and with each generation of connected car, there will be more and more features. So the number will increase the next years and getting more complex as well. These are the main pillars of data you can find on our portal. There will be a third one as well next year, because as you probably know, there are lots of requests from, let's say, anonymous data from the car, who sends you a kind of, here is an open parking lot, or here's a road traffic event like an accident or a slippery road. So there will be another kind of data accessible from next year onwards to support this kind of upcoming business solutions. Some screenshots from the portal. I can skip that slide because I will guide you through the portal later on in a few seconds. And this is the set of APIs, products that you find, that you can see on the portal right now. There is another set of products that are not visible, but if you have the demand for dedicated products, so please ask, get in contact with us. We check if it's already available and make it happen that you can access the data. And now we have some instructions here in the presentation. Here we are. developer.mercedes-benz.com. By the way, there are not that much automotive companies who have public developer portals. We are one of them. And I will guide you through the portal and show you some products. And later on in the coding sessions, we dig in more detail. So the landing page is looks like this. We move the world by data. That's our mission. And if you are familiar with developer portals, I think you know where to go. If not, that's for how to or where focus in my presentation. You can be either a developer, but not that familiar with that portal, but you're a developer. You can check out here a more comprehensive guide how to navigate through the developer portal, or you are from the business department or from an enterprise not familiar with IT stuff or APIs or dev portals, then okay, enter up here and we guide you through the portal toward the product that might be interests you. But when you're a developer, you can directly click here, discover our products. We have APIs and SDKs. And you can also directly jump in here in the menu entry at the top. We have APIs or SDKs. We'll see that later. So if you are developers, and most of you are developers, we have a special entrance here with some introduction. And then we have an overview how we structure our products, so experience them. Here's the electric vehicle status example. You can directly jump to the docs or go to the overview page. You also see here's a small curl coding example. You can directly copy it and try it out. And some payload response example here. This is the for pay-as-you-drive insurance where you get the odometer. So that's why the payload slightly limited. And here's another one, after sales topic remote maintenance support, which provides you a more comprehensive payload response. And a short pass how it works. So everything is for free. You can work around, you can look, you can evaluate the product, you can download the spec, you can start developing. As soon when you need access to the, let's say, trial product or the productive product, you have to be registered and sign up in the portal. Then you can create an app. An app is like a container where you put in the product that you're interested in, that you subscribe. Then you can, well, for sure, you can develop and test on your end. And then if everything works fine and you need the productive access and also the access to real cars, you start the here it's named request approval, so the buy flow or the contracting phase. And after everything is done and completed, from a technical point of view, the product will be enabled and allow access to the sources that you request. And then you can go live with your cool solution. It's all about your solution. We have some spotlights here, also examples which gives you more inspiration how other companies use our products, and you can directly switch to the products as well, to the API here on the top. And at the bottom you find two very, I think, very important features. Stay tuned. And we have a newsletter. So if you like, and I invite you to subscribe our newsletter, you get the latest updates on everything that refers to the Mercedes-Benz developers portal. You will not get updates on, let's say, new models that Mercedes sells, but here everything in regards in relation to the portal and the products. And it's quite easy, as you hopefully know from other portals and so on. So you have time to interrupt your email, please, not mine. And then you can simply press subscribe now. And what a pity, I'm already subscribed, but afterwards you are subscribed and you get a confirmation email, and afterwards you are in our mailing list. Get support. So if you have questions regarding products you like to use and the information which you find here in the portal is not sufficient, you can contact us. Or if you have products subscribed and you get boring return codes and you don't know what's wrong, you can contact us as well. Simply click here. You can then select the API or the product you want to refer to. We have here the APIs. Further below the SDK with the platform, or it refers to the portal itself, or the Bring Your Own Car initiative, which we will learn about later on. If nothing fits, choose the other. Then give us some more detail about your inquiry. Is it regarding some business topics, data protection, some technical? Is it regarding OO stuff or other? So it's really easy. And then you can put in here your name and your email. So very easy. Type in your country and your topic you want to address to us, and agree to the privacy statement, and that's all. Quite easy, and send it out. And it takes a few seconds. And then we're done. Okay, then we receive this and get in touch with you and help you in whatever you request. Cool. So we are back. The business side looks similar. You will be, can end up here. You will be more guided through concrete examples, which gives you a hint from the point of view or the topic you are thinking of towards other solutions, guide you through the products, and then you can explore the products here in more detail. Further below, we have some of the Inspire examples. You will also find them if you go here directly to the Inspire section. In the menu entry, we have here the latest news, which you also find here on the top with the what's new. And then again, we have to stay tuned and get support part here. What's new is nice. If you have subscribed to newsletter, you will get the information via the newsletter, but also we put everything here in the news section. So if you missed one of the past newsletter, you can check out here what had happened the last few months. And as you can see, here is another lovely Michael, and you can check out the information and find further links as well. One of the most important ones, I think, for you is the BioCar one. We will learn about that later on. Okay, so this is regarding the portal. Getting back to the landing page, and I think everything is quite smooth, and you will not get lost. If so, please get in touch with us and we help you. And with this, we continue. And okay, I want to show you one product right now, and I choose the vehicle images one. I missed that. So every product is structured this way. You have a slightly navigation at the left side with an overview, with details, with a spec, with the docs, and if monetized, with some pricing information. You can directly access the product, or you can look around and read the information we have prepared for you, what is in, what kind of data you receive or you will get from this product, why you can or you should use it, and if there is an Inspire example, you find the link here. We mostly offer 3 tiers of products. The sandbox one with mock data, which also used for the tryout feature. The trial one, probably the most important one for you. It's free of charge. You can access real data, but it's limited in the number of calls. And if you want to, for real business and unlimited usage and real data, for sure you have to follow the buy process and complete the contract, and then everything can start at your hand. The details page is of interest because you find a list of vehicles as well as a list of models who will be supported from the product. So not all the Mercedes-Benz since the beginning of the company can be supported. So you should check out this to see if there are any limits. Also, if you get some error messages in the meaning of figure not found, you can check here, oh, it's not supported, and that gives you the very important hint. You also find some technical and legal requirements or limitations. You should also have a look at here and see, okay, are there some limitations? The spec part covers the OpenAPI specification. As you probably know, especially if you're an API or a backend developer, you can directly download the spec and start developing or integrate it in your environment. This is a very simple API, one of our easiest ones. It has two resources. You can look around what's going on here with the resource. And there is a tryout, and let's try it. So if there is a tryout, so let's try out. I put in here one win and execute. So it works, code 200, and we get a response. The vehicle images provides computer-generated images of the real car, of this car with a dedicated vehicle identification number, which means there is a two-step approach for this API. The first, you request the image, and if it's generated, you get back an image ID, and the second call, then you get the image itself and can download the image. So I take the first, no, I take the second one. I take the second image ID from here, copy it. Well, you find the other return codes as well here. Go to the second resource, start tryout, and execute it as well, and get a 200 and with the smart. It works. So the first check here of the workshop session worked. That's fine. So you can use a tryout or the rest. If you are familiar with APIs and specs, you start developing for sure. If you need more assistance, you can go to the doc section, which provides you a step-by-step guide how to use and how to integrate the APIs. You can do it in Postman or other tools that are directly integrated in your environment. You find on the right side all the examples. You have the curl examples here that you can use, and example responses as well. And it guides you through the to see here different steps. Until, well, and at the end, also some general information about the error handling. So you either can use the spec itself, or you go to the doc section, which is always more extensive and detailed. And we think both together will help you to create successful integration. And pricing for this product, we offer three product options. The one is a placeholder, what you can see here provides you with so in the productive environment, yeah, with 3 images, the basic one up to 10, and the 360-degree example of a package, you will get 40 images, and you can use them and show or create a cool user experience in your app. And let's try, no. That's why I wanted to show you the product example. And getting back to the presentation, the trigger for the vehicle images, it's a nice story, so I will tell you the story. We realized that on a lot of websites in the used car area, as well as on stock cars as well, dealers and also on platforms like Mobile.de and the others, there's a bunch of platforms out there. They use this nice placeholder images, so mostly a dog or another animal or a covered car or just a text image will follow. And we really still think, who on earth will click on the dog? So if I'm in a pet shop and I have a dog and I look like for food for my dog, I click on the dog. But if I'm looking for a cool Mercedes-Benz, why I should click on a dog? And this was the trigger. We get in touch with the dealers and discuss, hey, how could we help you? And the vehicle images is the result out of this discussion, out of this process. And it's one already one of our most successful products. And as you can see on the right side, the dealers get in the position to provide an online offer as early as possible with a really cool car, and it's dedicated, that car that is behind this offer. So it's not a generic one, it's this dedicated car. This should give you an insight about what you can do with our data. It's a real example and also a very easy one. And then we start with our first coding session. We stay with vehicle images. So as I told you before, as soon as you want to start using the products, you have to register and subscribe the products. So you have to log in. And if you already have a Mercedes Me ID, use this Mercedes Me ID. If you already have a Mercedes-Benz and using the Mercedes Me apps, then you have a Mercedes Me ID. So please use this one. You can create a different one, another one, but best is use the one that is linked to your car, especially if you want to use the connected car features of our Bring Your Own Car initiative, because if you use a different ID than you are using the Mercedes Me app, you will not get grant or you will not get access to your car. So that is a simple thing you should consider. Then you can log in. You can create one in parallel. You can follow this coding example. It's a very easy one. I use my private email and log in. Okay, here we are again. What happened? There is a new menu entry on the top, console, your personal area. Then there you find your apps. And I'm a lazy person because I have no apps right now. And there is another menu here. You get some analytics about the consumed calls, as well as if you have some monetized products, you see some invoice information down here. You can create your app beforehand or when you subscribe the product. So it's up on you. You can do it both works. So I create an app right now here, give the app a name. And the purpose URL. Purpose URL is mandatory. So if you're from a company or a startup or whatever, and you have a company website, please enter up the URL here. If you're a private person, enter up a valid URL, otherwise it will not work. I will use this one here. Enter up the purpose of your application of your app, especially important if you use the productive and want to get contracted for the business use. And now I enter up your WeARD live session, live week, we're in a live week, this way. And if you like, you can add notes. Nope. Then you can create your app. Takes a few seconds. And here we are. So console, your apps, my apps, WeARD live session, and the system has created an internal app ID. And here you find the information, but there are right now no products subscribed. To do the coding session, we need a subscription. So we go back to APIs, go back to vehicle images, get access. Here we are again. I start with the buy, but afterwards we take the get free pass. So if you buy it, here we have the product options. We want to like the basic one. Then we have the application. You can use the app just created, or you can easily create another one. It really depends how you would organize yourself. I use the WeARD live session app created just before. So this is when you need the productive and the business use and context. You have to fill in your company details, your billing emails, as well as tech stuff. So this is really a little hurdle, but necessary. But for us and for most of the developers, and as long as you just develop and needs access, limited access to one of the cars, you can use the get for free pass. Again, we like the basic one. I select the existing WeARD Live session app, and you see you can directly subscribe. And here we are. Getting back to the console, what happened right now, you see, okay, here is the API key. Great. I'm using Postman. It's a nice tool, so it's not advertising for Postman. There are multiple other tools on the market which are fine and serve your needs. We use Postman a lot, so the coding session is with Postman. I created a workspace here. Okay, here the collection from my test yesterday, but nevertheless, I import the specification, and for that I have to download it for sure before. So I go back to the product on the portal and download the. I have to take care because I want the basic one. Here you have to select the right product option you're looking for. I like to show you the basic one. So I download this Open API specification. Done. And then I can go back to Postman, to the import area. Wait until the folder is visible. It's a kind of waiting day today. Okay. Here we are. This one is the basic. I imported. And as you can see here, Pickle Image API, that's right. This product is still using Open API specification version 2. Most of the products already use Open API specification version 3. I decided to use it as a test suite and import it. Done. As you can see right now here's the new collection. It's a simple product, so we have just the two resources here. I can start the first one and try send. And it works. So I get a connection, but I also get an unauthorized, which means something is wrong with the authorization, and for sure, because I have not entered up the API key. So getting back to the portal, getting back to the console, getting back to my application, getting back to my here API key, and copy the API key. Getting back to Postman, and what I like here with the collections, I can enter up the authorization, the API key once, and then reuse it for all the requests. One tip, it should be in sync, the specification and the API, but it might happen that there are some issues, so check if the API key is written in the right manner. Sometimes it's API minus key, but here, as I know, it's API.key. So that can be one of the issues that might happen if you get further unauthorized error messages. Check also if the API key is part of the header parameter, is it query parameter, it's part of the header definition. Update, try again, and now we got 404 not found. So we get access to the API. The API checked and tried to process it, but you get a not found. And not found is easy one because we have not entered up a vehicle image ID, which is the needed to identify the car. And I have prepared some wins, hopefully. So if you have a Mercedes-Benz, take the VIN of your car. If your mom or dad has a Mercedes-Benz, so ask them for the VIN. Otherwise, ask Google. There's always some VINs you can find, Mercedes-Benz VINs for sure. Others will not work. That helps you to get the VIN. So if I can show you just an unofficial information. So there is a, I don't know who made this website, but the lastwin.com, and you'll find a list of wins. So if you're looking for a real win, you can check out this, but this is unofficial and not supported by us. Getting back to Postman. So I ended up with Figure ID, and let's try what happened. And this looks good. Okay, 200 okay. Chaka, it works. And as I told you before, you get back image IDs as the first request, and the second request, then you get the image. And I will pick out one of the image ideas here. So this is, and let's see, in the second request, enter up the image ID and send it out. Get a 200 okay, and surprise, it's, what is it for car? It's the E-Class. E-Class, cool, works. So as I told you before, that's the easiest product, and you can really, with some simple steps, integrate the app, but here use it in Postman mode. But then, if it works, integrate it in whatever you develop. Later on, we have some more complex coding sessions for sure. I'm going back here to the presentation and check out if there are some questions already in the Slido chat.
There is one related to authentication, asking about Bureau tokens, but I think we will get to that later on in our presentation.
Okay.
So other questions only refer to the portal and email handling. How you make sure that the portal is not used to spy email addresses, basically.
Okay, we'll check that out later on. And now I continue, and we are here at the Bring Your Own Car initiative. BioCars, we named it. We enable cool developers. Most of them are engaged, as we already know, engaged in IoT, home devices, home appliances. So they really like to connect their Alexa or their lights, their heater with the car outside in the garage. So we enable all this kind of users with this initiative to use the connected car APIs for free. The requirement is that it's really your car, so your Mercedes-Benz ID should be the same that you use accessing your car with the Mercedes-Me app, and you have to enable your car for a remote access as well. But that is part of the coding session later on. And as we have 2 hours, and 2 hours is a long time, and it's hard to follow 2 hours, we have 2 breaks. So we reached the first break. Please grab a coffee. So at least I need a break and grab a coffee. We see us back in 5 minutes, and we'll then continue with the Bring Your Own Car coding session. And if you have any further questions, feel free to post it in the chat, and we will answer them after the break. Okay, we are back and hope you enjoyed the break. And I have a look at the chat and I see, so Safa, many thanks for your 2 questions. The email subscription is completely separated from the email where you for your registration. We only use the email and a separate email provider for sending out the newsletter, and you can unsubscribe at any point, so there is no relation to the one that we use. The second question is you will get a double opt-in email like required from the GDPR topics. So you have to really confirm the newsletter. So if one types in any kind of emails and there is no confirmation, this email will be deleted after a few days. And there was another question regarding our what is a stack? What tech stack was your API built with? How do you manage infrastructure? The underlying platform is the Apigee platform, API management platform, which we also use for the internal developer portal. So we have 2 pillars on that. The one is the internal one with a bunch of more than a few hundred APIs, and then we have the public one. So it's Apigee, and on top of the Apigee platform, we have our portal, which was implemented with Drupal, which allows us to really customize it the way that we need. Because most of the API management platforms or providers are limited in this kind of front-end development. How do you secure APIs? We are using the state-of-the-art security technologies for sure. Not going more in detail in this session. Have you used Open API Spec? Yes, for sure. All of our products are based on Open API. The one I showed you before is version 2, so Swagger as mostly named, and the more we try to provide or use Open API version 3 for the most of the products, and we'll migrate the version 2 also to version 3 hopefully next year. What about input and output JSON XML depending on HTTP operations? Well, I don't understand the question, so Candida, maybe you can later on or directly contact us and then we can clarify the question. Otherwise, we will continue right now with our session, getting shortly back. Bring your own car, that provide the connected car APIs to that person who have a Mercedes-Benz. And with this, we enter up the next coding session, which will be conducted by Andreas. So I can hand over to Andreas and will stop my screen sharing right now.
So yeah, let's first of all put things a bit into perspective, into context, to summarize what we've seen so far. You already know Olaf. You saw him using Postman, and he used the vehicle images API, which is connected to some backend that generates vehicle images. Earlier, he mentioned that there is the marketing data pillar, and that's exactly one example of that. Because we don't have any interaction with a real vehicle, as far as the API is concerned, we also don't need to give any consent or whatsoever. So there is no personalized request context, and that's why we just use an API key for using this API. But if we want to do something that's related to an actual car, first of all, I want to introduce you to some guys here. We have one mechanic. Hopefully we don't need him. And we also have Holger. Holger is one of my colleagues, and Holger has a car, and Holger's car is Mercedes. And he enabled the remote access and connected his car to all the Mercedes-Benz APIs and backend systems. So the car is pushing some data to the backend. And if something wrong with Holger's car, a mechanic could support him and use some maintenance app, which is then using the diagnostic support API or maintenance support API to figure out what's wrong with Holger's car. For that, he definitely needs information about this particular car. He needs to get access to this car's data. First of all, Holger will have to give consent to that, so agree with this usage of his car's data by the mechanic. But he won't log in with the maintenance app the mechanic is going to use. So in this case, we will use OAuth client credentials, but we won't go into further details here. We want to do something else, again, with Holger's car. It's still connected to a backend, and now I'm showing up here. Unfortunately, I don't have a car. I have a car, but it's not a Mercedes. And so everything's not that cool. But luckily, Holger gave me access to his car. So I can go to the Mercedes Me portal. Where do I have the bookmark? My Mercedes Me profile. I can first of all log in. No. Yeah. So somewhere I have my cars. It's not that true. It's not my car, but I have access to it. So we see we have some real car here, and we can sort of manage the car. I'm not really authorized to do anything, but I can see the car data, and I can get the VIN. We will use the VIN to grab some data of this car. For that, I already imported the fuel status API and the vehicle log status API into Postman. Already prepared them for the demo with an environment that has the real VIN here. But I did not configure any authentication in Postman to actually use this API, so that will fail. To fix that, we will go back to the Mercedes-Benz developers portal. We will go to the console. I'm already here. And we see that I already have set up apps, and Postman is also already configured with OAuth client credentials because I subscribed to the fuel status API, the vehicle log status API, and also the connected vehicle API Olaf mentioned earlier. What we will need now is the client ID. I will copy that, go back to Postman, configure my environment I prepared, put the client ID here, and we will also need the client secret, which we find in the console. With that, we are almost ready to go. But since OAuth might require some scopes, we should check out the APIs we want to use. So let's take a look at the fuel status API. In the docs, we find information about the authentication. It will also tell us which scopes are required. So we will need this one in a moment. And there's some other information that might be important. And what's really helpful is also the OAuth documentation. That's really extensive documentation of the authorization code flow we are going to use. So it really describes the entire flow, what's going on if you want to use something here. It describes it from the end user's perspective, the end user will have to log in some way. And further down, there also is the documentation from the developer perspective with the exact your request you have to do in order to follow the authorization code flow. And that's what we're going to set up in Postman first of all. Again, we can use the imported collections with the authorization tab in the collection details. Since some versions Postman supports authorization code flow and other OAuth related authentication methods, we can get a new access token. I already prepared that based on the documentation I just showed you. So I put in the auth URL, I put in the access token URL, pull the client ID and the client secret from my environment configuration, and I also already prepared the scopes we found in the API documentation. What we also will need is a callback URL because we have to log in as an actual user. When we want to do something with the APIs, I already have the status app included here. That's a sample app we're going to look at in a moment. Before I can do anything here, I will need an OAuth access token, or my app will need that. In the first example, Postman will be this app, and nevertheless, I will have to log in Mercedes-Me. And in order to show you that, I will log out here again. And then try to use Postman to request a token. No, so if we missed one part, the callback URL, this has to be configured in the console. And you can see it here. The redirect URL is set up, so we won't be rejected when Postman tries to request a token. Let's see if that works. We request a token. We are invalid client ID. Interesting. Did we not update the environment? We have a client. Oh, I just set the initial value, not the current value. So let's fix that. So go back to the authorization, get a new access token. Hopefully this time we get values here. We request a token. We get redirected to the Mercedes-Me login page. Again, I'm going to log in. The authentication completed, and we got an access token, and we can now use this token, update the collection, and now can check the fuel status of Holger's car. What we can see now is that he still has a range of 678 kilometers. We could do the same with the log status, but I thought I don't really want to request the status data from all different APIs separately. I'm lazy. That's why I prepared an app for me that does that. We already saw that in this overview here. We have the status app, which uses the fuel status API and the log status API. And again, the Mercedes-Me login page. So if we look at that in IntelliJ, we have a Spring Boot application that will use these two APIs. And it's really a tiny sample application with not much in it. We use Spring Boot, latest version, and we use Spring Boot Starter Web Flux just to use the web client instead of the REST template. I won't go into the details there. We will use OAuth client and Spring Boot Starter security. Because the nice thing is, if with Spring Security, that we don't have to implement the authorization code flow with the redirects and callbacks and so on on our own. That's all done by Spring already. So we will just use that and configure that for our application. This is what it looks like. We have the standard Spring Security OAuth client and provider configuration, client registration and provider configuration. And we defined a new registration and provider. In this case, it's CIAM, the Mercedes-Benz Customer Identity and Access Management. We define the authorization code flow. We get a client ID and a client secret from the environment variables. And we configure some redirect URL and define scopes we want to use to get our access token, similar to what we just had in Postman. Then we will also define the issuer URI, the authorization URI, token URI, and some JWKS URL. And what we particularly do not configure is the user info URI. And we will also need to use a small workaround here, because by default, Spring Security will try to fetch user information when an access token is requested. But we are using opaque tokens that don't include any user information. And we also do not need to know anything about the user. If we look back at the nice little drawing here, this application doesn't need to know who I am. It doesn't need to know anything about me. I only want to use it to access the APIs. So all I need here is an access token to request the APIs altogether. So I prevent it from calling the user info endpoint, which we would also not be allowed to because we are building a third-party application. So we're almost ready to run this application, but we will have to subscribe to API. And for that, we head back to the Mercedes-Benz developers portal. We have the application already prepared in the console, but we have not subscribed any APIs yet. So we will go to the APIs, find the fuel status API, as Olaf already shared earlier. We get access. We want to get it for free because we bring our own car, so it's all fine. And we want to subscribe to sample app. Subscribe back to the product overview because we want to subscribe another API. So we find the vehicle log status API. We get access. We get it for free because we bring their own car. And again, subscribe to sample application. And subscribe. Now we also see the OAuth authorization code flow in the console entry for this app. We don't have the correct redirect URL yet because the default is localhost. But we will just steal it from here because I already put it there so that I can copy it from somewhere. And we will set it for the sample app. Okay, so now we are prepared to actually request data for Holger's car using the sample application. But maybe we don't always want to get real data, especially for development. So we also want to use the tryout version, which is available in the specifications, as we've already seen. So we will also prepare the application to use that one. Try it out, and here we have a sample vehicle identification number, and if we execute that, we will also see that there is a hard-coded token for the tryout. In order to use that with our application, we configure another profile, the application tryout YAML, and the tryout token, and we have the tryout URLs for the API configured here. In comparison to that, in the actual configuration of the APIs, we will have the real API path. And if we now run the application, so first of all, we want to use the tryout mode. We activate the profile in run configuration, put in tryout, okay, and we start the car status application. Grab the vehicle identifier from here. So the sample application is up. We can head over to Postman to request the demo application, put in the tryout win, run that, and oops. Yeah, of course, we get a redirect because we have to log in at Mercedes-Me. So we will do the same thing from the browser, where we can actually follow the redirect easily and log in. Move back here. Make sure we are not logged in already. Oh, we were already logged in. That's unfortunate. But we will see that we got, sorry. It doesn't matter whether we are logged in or not because we used the tryout profile, and the tryout profile does not use the Spring Security Flow. That's the application made a distinction there. We had a configuration for an actual client, which is using OAuth. I won't go into the details because we don't have enough time for that. But in the tryout, we just put in the bearer token we configured and access everything using the tryout data. But we saw what kind of data we will get. We will get a fuel status and a log status in one request. So we will now change our application to the actual profile. And to get real data, we remove the tryout from the run configuration, apply it, and run it again. The application is up. We refresh the page. What should happen? We don't get anything back because we don't know that car. But what's weird though, we should not have been able to see that because I thought we were logged out. But let's try it again. We will use that in a moment, and we will use the actual vehicle identification number. So we are not logged in here, right? Can log in, and in the Mercedes-Me profile, we're also not logged in. Yeah, that looks good. So we'll try it again. And here we see the data for the actual car. Again, 678 kilometers range left, and the data is from 3 hours ago also. Now, if you would also like to change something here, then you probably don't want to do that with an actual car. And that's where the simulator comes into play, was already briefly mentioned. And I will only very shortly show that. Page expired. Nice. To be able to interact with a car without interfering with some actual car, we can use the simulator. Make sure that I'm really on the right simulator. This is because that's another one. So as we've seen in the console, I also subscribed this login is confusing. I subscribed Postman also to the experimental connected vehicle API. And this is what you can use with the simulator we see here. So we can go back to Postman and request some data. First of all, see which vehicles we have access to. Don't have a token, of course. So we get a new one, request token, that worked. We use the token, update the request, and here we see that we have access to this vehicle ID, which is the same as let's rearrange things a bit, which is the same we have here. Now we can request status information for that car. So we will take a look at the doors. The vehicle ID is configured in the environment here. And we request that. We see that all doors are locked. Bigger, closed, locked. So it's just the same as in the simulator here. Now we could change some data points here in the simulator. We could unlock the front door or lock it again, which we've updated data in the API, but we actually wanted to change something with the car using the API. So we used the post endpoint to lock the doors. They are currently locked, so we will unlock them. Put a command here. Now the request response says we initiated something because there has to happen some real action in the real world. So, but it was successful. We saw that some requests were coming in here in this console, and we see that the doors are now unlocked, and we could lock them again. So that's a way you can play around with a simulated car if you don't want to interfere with a real one. And I think with that, we are ready to move on, Olaf.
Thank you, Andreas, for the cool coding session. And let's have a look at the chat. So there are no additional questions except one from Anonymous. Which APG are you using and why? This is a cool question, and I would like you to contact me directly via LinkedIn or via email, and we can exchange some nice ideas about that one-to-one. We go ahead. Just a reminder, you will find that in the slides. We will provide the slides also afterwards, that you have the QR code and the link to the simulator. And to recap one thing, and to make it really clear, you will only get access to a car when you have got the consent from the user or the owner, and only in regards to the scope that has been defined and linked to the dedicated products. So if you have a limited access to, let's say, the odometer, you will not access the doors and vice versa. The user itself will become capability in this Mercedes-Me app to really see an overview of the apps they have given consent and at least access to his car, and can at any time delete the third-party apps. And they also have an access history when they see, okay, when there were some access to my car, what kind of data has been accessed. So there's full control on the user side. Next is, you already have heard about the Mercedes-Me app, also about our new Mercedes app family. There is the new core app, Mercedes-Me app, and then in addition, the store app and the service app, and probably some more dedicated feature apps as well in the future. All they share a common underlying Mercedes-Benz mobile SDK. And this common Mercedes-Benz mobile SDK is also the same that we open up for third-party access. And so we are here and approaching our next coding example. But before that, a few words regarding the SDK. Let's check where it is. I think it's here. Yeah, okay.
I think the audio is not working.
Ihr habt was?
Kein Ton.
Ihr habt keinen Stream?
Kein Ton. Das Bild sehen wir, aber den Ton nicht.
Okay, yeah, you have the link. Okay.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Sindelfingen, part of the worldwide R&D network. In close cooperation between different R&D departments, we have developed what we call the Mobile Software Development Kit, or simply SDK. We were one of the first automakers to grant external software developers access to a platform like this in 2019. This is for us the start of a new generation of connectivity. Just imagine having the potential of using more than 1 million developers all around the world to offer the best services to our customers. This was the goal while developing the SDK. The SDK focuses on granting, through this platform, access to many vehicle functions to developers. This is done in a secure and guided way, similar to what the community is used to for smartphone application development. After a successful pre-launch at the IAA in Frankfurt last year, we from Mercedes-Benz R&D are very proud about the new app generation and look forward to sharing with you further updates.
Okay, here we are again, and I hope you enjoyed that video as well. We had some technical issues, but now everything, we did it another way. That was George Muffing, Vice President Digital Vehicle and Mobility, so the head of the R&D unit who developed the SDK. Sometimes he's also mentioned as Mr. MBUX, so he's head of the MBUX development as well. So best man who can explain the SDK and the intention of the SDK, so even better than me. We continue, just to recap of the SDK, everything is in to access vehicle data and its function, also incorporate the base function, let's say the security topic, the OAuth topics, and we add up sample apps as well as a car simulator for the SDK as well. You will all find the information on in our developer portal. So in the developer portal, the basic information, also if you request access to the SDK, start here. You find all the sources in GitHub, You see here the QR code. Also the sample apps. You can grab everything on GitHub, and on the right side there, that's your environment. Currently, we have a separated simulator environment for the SDK. Hopefully next year we will merge that together to give you just one and even enhanced simulator to do any kind of development, not having the need to own a physical Mercedes-Benz car. And with this, we start the next coding session with the SDK. And again, I hand over to Andreas.
I will again share my screen. You were a bit too fast, Olaf. I was still logging in to be able to show everything. So we have already our simulator prepared, but we will start our journey through the SDK at the web page. As I mentioned, we have some extensive documentation about the SDK in general, and we will take a closer look at the Android side. All you need to know is available on this page. You have the prerequisites, you have a getting started guide, information about the simulation, and what you can all access and use using the SDK. We will see that in a moment. Again, you just get access to the SDK as for the APIs as well, same way. We want to get it for free again. We use the standard package. Nothing else is available to us anyway, and we will actually won't create an application because I already prepared that. We have not just our Postman and the sample app, we also have the SDK already prepared here. So we can get started with the actual getting started and the prerequisites. We need to have some environment, a development environment set up. I used Android Studio as suggested here. It's already running. We need to have an account on the Mercedes-Benz developers portal. That's what we are on right now. So we have also that. We need a simulated vehicle. Check. Here we go. And we need to subscribe. We already did that. So we have access to the API. And now we are ready to get familiar with the example application. And that's what I want to show you today. We head over to GitHub to check out the repository of the SDK. As you can see, it was released really recently. And here you have the SDK itself, as well as a sample application. You also get an overview of what's all included and information how you can contribute that, and a code of conduct again, some licensing information. The getting started guide is all you need to know to get something up and running. It will tell you how you integrate the mobile SDK, how you set up the dependencies, and how you set up the SDK in your project with a code snippet as well. We will see that in our actual application, the sample application, in just a moment. It describes how you can log in, how you select the vehicle. So it has snippets and coding samples for everything you might want to do. So that's a really good starting point to work with the SDK. And it also shows you how you can send commands to the car and how to log out again. If we look at the sample application, I cloned from GitHub and imported it in IntelliJ, in Android Studio, sorry. I already configured the configuration builder with what I found in the console. I have the app ID as the app identifier. and I set the RP key as the client ID for keycloak and CM. Both have to be configured in order to make things work. We are going to run the SDK sample app in a mock environment. So it will behave a bit different than the actual production environment, obviously. But we will use the production environment from the authentication so that I can log in using my actual user ID. But the data itself will be mocked. It will come from the car simulator. And we could run the emulated Android device. We want to run the app right from Android Studio. But unfortunately, Android Studio does not allow us to configure the DNS server and networking configuration of the Android device. So to make sure we don't run into any issues with the networking, as I had already tried everything beforehand, we run the emulator from the command line. Here we have a nice Pixel 3a, I think. What did I just run? It's a Pixel 3a, latest Android version, API version 30. And we will find the simulator to put it right next to the mobile SDK, the simulator to put it right next to the app. Or to bring the app here as well. So the app is not running yet, but we are prepared to use it. So let's run the app on our Pixel 3a. It's already running. And we will start the application from Android Studio. It's again building it. That might take some time. And in a moment, we should be ready to see something coming up here. Something happened? Did something happen on the device? The build is still running. So it says it's launched the app. Let's see. Not yet. Oh, my device crashed. Oh, wait. There we go. We have the sample application running. We can log in. I again use my actual email address. I request a TAN to log in, but because we are using a mock environment, I did not receive an actual TAN. So I can type in anything I like to log in. If you use the production environment, you would get an actual TAN to your email address, but then you would also need a production subscription for the SDK, which I don't have right now. So we use the mock version. Now I'm logged in and I'm ready to select a vehicle. I have 4 vehicles available. If we have a look at the VINs, they're the same as we see in the simulator. And for this demonstration, we will pick a really cool car. We select EQC electric vehicle, electric SUV. Also here. There it is. And now let's connect the app to this car. Now we see what's going on with the car. We have a lot of capabilities and data points to change, as we also see in, I resized it, too bad. As you can see here, the the SDK has a lot more capabilities than the APIs that are provided by Mercedes-Benz. So you can really interact with internals of the car. And the documentation and the Mercedes-Benz developers platform has some more insight and details on that. So we don't need that here. Here's my app. This the simulator, and so for instance, we can have a look at the tank level. What's displayed in the app right now is the gas range. So if we increase, usually the range decreases. As you can see, while I change it, almost instantly, the new data is showing up in the app as well. But as we see here, we are also able to change something with the car, with the simulated car from within the app. So we're going to use the app to unlock the doors. As we see, all doors are locked right now. So just unlock. Now we have to enter a PIN. What kind of PIN? If you're an owner of a Mercedes-Benz and you have set up your profile in Mercedes-Me, you might be aware of that. If not, I'll show you where to find that. It's also, again, related to the production login I use to run the app. In your profile, you have the option to configure a Mercedes-Me PIN, and this PIN will then be used to interact with the car. So I set it up beforehand. So I'll just type it in and send it. Send. And now the app says the doors are unlocked. The simulator still shows locked. Let's see if something else was going on here. Because what you also need to know is that there are many data points for in the simulator and for the car, and some of them seem related but might not be. So for instance, we have a door lock status overall, and then we have a separate status for each individual data point. So what we change here in the app might not be reflected in the UI of the simulator. Try to open the windows. Something came in here. The windows are now open, completely open as shown in the app, and we can close them again. Something is received, but yeah, again, not represented in the UI. We locked doors. Now the doors are locked. So you see there is some interaction, but not necessarily related to the data points that are visualized. A really cool feature is also that you could create trips using the simulator. We then define data points on a timeline so that you can simulate the car driving and simulate real driving situations with your app to test and work with different scenarios. And in the app also is included some output to visualize the status the car has right now, besides what is shown in the UI. So with all that, you should have a good starting point to work with the API, the SDK, to interact with the Mercedes-Benz and build some really cool stuff. And that's all I wanted to share with you for now and today.
Okay, thank you very much, Andreas, for the most complex coding session. Hope my screen is shared right slide again, and
It is.
okay, cool. We continue with some questions in the chat. As you maybe remember, the SDK version was freshly published last week, and maybe there is some inconsistency with the simulator. We will address that later on to the responsible team. So hopefully that in a few days or even weeks, the simulator is again in sync with the visualization and the data points. There is one question regarding the scopes. What I showed you before, our principles are, let's say, privacy first and then developer freedom second. So there is not give me access to everything approach, but you always have to request consent for a dedicated limited scope of data points. And we organize all the features in the scopes. So in let's say kind of context, the APIs defines the scopes, and that's our approach. So it's let's say not that easy or likewise for the developers, but nevertheless this follows our security and privacy approach. Also, there is some questions regarding Apigee again, so please contact me later on, so I'll answer that. And Apigee, the authorization server, now, no, we have own Mercedes-Me or Daimler-wide authorization server. We are integrated with Apigee or with our gateways. So we continue. And I have seen we are running a bit out of time, so we skip the pause and skip this one. And also, let's check, we have 10 minutes to go. So we will also skip this Menti questions, and we so we have some room, more rooms for final questions on your side. Currently, we providing the APIs and the SDK, and a logical next step would be to grant the in-car stuff, and we already got lots of requests. Hey, when can we access the in-car topics? And in-car is all the stuff that is around MBUX, everything accessing the head unit and interact with the drivers and other users in the car. So next year, there will be the next logical step, and we all invite you to join the upcoming in-car coding community. And as you can see here, that will happen Q1 next year, so it's not that much to go. And there are some rumors, as I heard, it will not be end of Q1, it will really at the very beginning of Q1. So really, I think stay tuned if you're interested in developing with against Mercedes-Benz cars and with Mercedes-Benz itself, using the API SDK and then the in-car stuff. Subscribe to the newsletter so you get the information firsthand, or check our dev portal and the other social media channels to get informed when the registrations and the first information of the in-car coding community will be launched. As I said before, it's very early at the Q1 next year. I'm really looking forward for this next step. Mercedes-Benz developers will be integral part of it, and also me as the community manager really looking forward to interact more intensively with the crowd outside, with all the kind of Michaels out there who likes to be as enthusiastic as the one from the video. And with this, I also like to invite you to a short survey. Yeah, it just takes 2 minutes. It will help us to improve our developer portal, to get your feedback, to see okay, what is missing, what we can improve, also to check what is fine. So here you see the QR code. We will send out the link as well afterwards together with the presentation. 2 minutes, very helpful. Also give us some feedback about the session. As I said in the beginning, it's the first time that we do this kind of workshop session. We like to get the feedback to see where we have to improve the session, where we have to, let's say, omit or go much more deeper in dedicated detail. So we're really open to get your feedback on this. And then we are at the end. So final questions can be posted to the chat. And I'd like to give over to Andreas and ask for his, let's say, summary. And how do you feel, Andreas?
I feel good now that we were able to present everything we wanted to present. We were not sure if we can fill the time or if we have enough time. Turned out that it was on point. Thanks for your attendance. Thanks for joining. I hope it was a nice introduction. You got a nice insight and feel motivated to play around with that and have fun. And yeah, reach out to us if you have questions.
Also from my side, thank you very much, audience out there, Michael out there. We really enjoyed this session. 2 hours run very fast, faster than we expected. And let's check the chat. Is location zones part of the in-core, or will it be part of the current APIs? Well, I don't know exactly. So you have to check the APIs or the SDK documentation in our site as well. Currently, there is a mismatch between the functions available via API and SDK. The SDK is ahead of the capabilities. We are intended to merge them together so that you have both choices, API or SDK, what better fits your need, but you can address or access the same set of data points and vehicle functions.
Location is already available via the SDK right now.
Okay, so yeah, then we are at the end. Thank you, a big thank you from the whole Mercedes-Benz developers team behind us here. We are only 2 of them. And so Stefan.
Yes.
You can join us.
Yeah, I already sneaked in. And you missed 2 comments. There, one which rose very fast. It was the cool looking forward to the in-car coding community. I think this will be the big party of next year. And Candida also said, fantastic workshop. I can only concur with that together with my colleague. It was really interesting. And who would have guessed that it can look so easy? So also thank you for all this code wizardry from Andreas. And I am also glad that the demo gods were really in a good mood today and everything worked out fine, and everything which was a kink was just a kink. So no problem there. That's perfect.
Great. Okay.
Thanks, Stefan. And it does not just look easy, it really is easy to use the APIs and the SDK.
No, this is also something you like transported very let's say picturesque, because a colleague of mine is a non-programmer and says, this is how this works. That's so simple. I always thought you need like 7 degrees of something. So I think it's a good developer experience which is in this product.
Thank you very much. Okay.
Yeah. So, and I think since we are nearly done, and I think Olaf and Andreas, they now, for you who watched the stream afterwards, it's now lunchtime, and I think they are hungry, because it's like running a marathon if you do a presentation. So thank you guys, it was really great, and thank you for all the preparations and showing us the latest version, and hope to see you soon again. And I really hope that the next big congress will be something where we can have you on stage and show us the in-car coding stuff.
Yeah. Hopefully. Okay. See you.
Okay.
Bye bye. Thank you very much.
Bye-bye.
See you. Bye.
Just one last minute reminder. The session at 1 o'clock is cancelled and we will start with the program at 2 p.m. So due to an accident, the session was cancelled. So we will be back at 2 p.m. and now I have to, with Martin, the user in the eye. I cannot read that. No, just joking. You know where the agenda is. 2 p.m. See you then. Have a nice lunch. For me, this means today there is lunch because there is 1 hour more time.